Hey everybody, Kratos Lucina here, and we're going to take out the T-72 Victory. Now, with the doing this T-72 and giving the history on it, it's going to cover basically every T-72 in this game. Although they get progressively more and more updated, this covers the basics, and so I just want to put the entirety of my like 30 T-72s into storage so I can move on to other vehicles. But the T-72 developed in the late 60s, early 70s, and adopted in 73, was built as a replacement for the T-64 because the T-64 was this wasn't meant to be a cheap replacement for the 64, but because it actually turned out to be more expensive, but it was a simplification of the 64. And so a standardized engine as opposed to there was a super complicated engine that was put in the 64 that was just too hard to maintain, and so a standardized diesel engine was put in. Uh, they really liked the uh, autoloader system from the 64, but it was extremely complex, and so it was simplified. Uh, I mean, they kind of did the whole simplify and make lighter principle on the 62, and so ideas that worked and were liked were kept and upgraded, and then pointless crap was thrown out. And during its production, it was called the Object 172. Ouch! You wiener. Could you not? Holy crap. There's a lot of angry stuff here. Oh my gosh, why am I missing so much? Can I get some backup? Where is everyone? Alright. Let's reset that. I can't do anything about him. Oh, somebody else hit that thing. I was like, did I blow up both? Uh, so with, the overall adoption of the 72, thousands upon thousands of these things were made. Like almost 7,000 of these things. Actually, I think over 7,000. And over the years, they ended up absolutely everywhere. I mean, all around the world, functioning everywhere. Mostly in the Middle East, but they've been seen in other places. Now, the original T-72 series, though, was only ever seen uh, like recently. There was one scene in Syria, but other than that, the T-72 series basically just if they weren't blown up, they were upgraded constantly and moving through all of the T-72 series tanks. And countries that could afford it would buy those upgrade packages from Russia, or they would send their tanks back to be upgraded. And it's without a doubt one of the most recognizable tanks from Russia. I really don't think there's a tank on this planet that, outside of maybe the American Abrams, the British Challenger, German Leopard, and the T-72. The juggernauts of war. And, I mean, this would have been the monster that came flying across the Fulda Gap. Hordes and hordes of these things coming across the Fulda Gap. One giant, metal fist from Stalingrad. And that's how, that was the plan. Fortunately, the collapse of the Soviet Union put a swift end to that. But the T-72 persevered. Now, granted, they did move on to, the the T-80s, T-90s, stuff like that. But the T-72 is still serving to this day in the Russian military. And there's really no reason for it not to. It's still doing the job that they originally intended for it to do. Huh. Never seen a Merkava do a tackle like that before. That was weird. Boom, 5 kills. All right. And it's not a bad tank. I mean, it's been, through upgrades, it's always maintained kind of a near peer status since its conception. And like even systems like the autoloaders and whatnot have all had upgrade cycles, like the hydraulically actuated autoloader has been replaced by electrically actuated autoloader, making it safer and more reliable. The engines have had a lot of upgrades over time to make them more efficient and more powerful. Ooh, man, that guy got clobbered. A lot of tech package upgrades, that kind of stuff. And it's allowed them to survive well into the future. Now, it is waning because Russia is trying to commit more wholly into, the T-19 or T-14, T-15 Armada series. They're trying to go into the future tech thing. Boy, that is a hard thing to see at point-blank range for a tank to pop right in your view. But the T-72, out of sheer stubbornness, will probably exist well into infinity. There will be T-72s on the moon if Russia gets around to it. Hey, we win. So even as a T-72 in this particular game, where there's like lots of missiles and stuff laying around, it held up. It held its own. Now in real life, tanks typically don't survive being hit by missiles, unless it strikes like a very specific ERA panel or something. But in this game where it's more arcadey and a missile is just worth a damage value, it can hold up, and it does very well at it. And the entire T-72 series in this game is very similar, especially as it evolves through its tech packages, getting more elaborate ERA systems and active protection systems. The protection values go up, and so it can survive more and more. And so it's a good tank in the game. Now, real life has shown them not to be fully near peer anymore. And I guess that's what kind of spurred development on the T-14, T-15 series tanks. And, and like the BMPT and stuff like that. But, I mean, in its heyday, it was a juggernaut on the field. And being everywhere kind of helped get it out there and be the symbol of the Soviet Union. So, that's the T-72. If you enjoyed this battle, please like and subscribe. Massive thank you to those that already have. And comment down below if you'd like to see a tank in battle. I will see you guys in the next mission. Until then, have fun.